Licenses and legal matters are a necessary evil when you run a theatre group. If you want to use music in your production that someone else has produced, you're going to need to pay for it. But where do you start, and what kind of licence will you need? And most importantly, how much is it going to cost? We put these questions to the man in the know.
We are the music licensing organisation within the UK, and we look after 75,000 songwriters, composers and music publishers. It's our job to ensure that they receive royalties when their music is used, however it is used, be it in the high street, on television and radio, when their music is sold in CDs and in downloads, and of course when music is used in theatrical productions, which we're talking about today. So there are three different sort of ways that music can be used, and there are different licenses for each of those. So firstly, if you're putting on a performance in a theatre and there's music in, say, the foyer or the bar, that's treated as background music like it would be in a shop or an office, and a licence is required for that. It's classed under our general purpose licence, and it's based on the size of the area, so obviously depending on how big the area is will depend on how much you pay. Secondly, obviously, there's music used in the performance itself. So, say for example, it's incidental music, sort of background music used in the performance. That would be licensed, and get in touch, and we'll work out how much it costs and what you need. Or if music is what's called interpolated, so it's integral to the performance itself. That requires a slightly different licence and also permission from the publisher who owns the rights to the music. So we say get in contact at least 28 days beforehand, then we can get in contact with the publisher, sort out the rights for you and guide you through the process. And then finally, if it's a musical or an opera, a slightly different right is in existence. It's called the grand right, and you will need the permission of the publishers, but we can help with that and point you in the right directions.
And the charges for each different licence type are also calculated differently too, as Barney explains.
If you're using it in the foyer or the bar or something like that, the licence you get from us covers everything, so you can use whatever music you want. You don't need to report exactly what is being used. We do sampling work in theatres up and down the UK, and we work it out on a general basis. Obviously, it's the most cost-effective way to do that. So that licence, depending on the size, will cover everything. Now, if music used actually within the performance, if it's incidental or background music, it's done on a sort of weekly rate, and also depending on the size of the venue. So, you know, just obviously get in touch, let us know the size, let us know how many weeks it's running, and we can work that out for you. If it's interpolated music, if it's integral to the performance itself, it's done on a sort of track-by-track basis, and we will need more detail on that because we will need to get permission from the publishers who own the music. So this is the one where we say get in touch early, at least 28 days before the performance starts, and then we can go to the publishers, gain the permissions, and then obviously work out the licence charges. And the way it's done is it's based on how much music is used within the whole performance. So we'll look at the whole running time and obviously how much of that time is music, and then it's done on a sort of per minute basis in terms of the whole show. So depending on how much music you use and how you use it depends on how much you pay.
Incidental music is often referred to by various different terms, which only adds to the confusion.
So just to clear up some terminology, incidental music or wallpaper music or scene change music, it's the atmospheric stuff, and that's charged on the weekly basis, and obviously depending on the size. So all of those terms mean the same thing for us. It's incidental music.
Another grey area is classical music and production music. Is there such a thing as PRS-free music?
Whatever music you're using in your performance, it's worth checking, because often music can still be in copyright. The law states that it is the creator has the right for 70 years after their death. Now you may think, oh well, that excludes some classical music, I'll be able to use that. But bear in mind there may be a new arrangement, or it may be performed by a new orchestra or tweaked slightly. So often copyright will still be in force, and the creators and obviously publishers of that music will retain the rights, and so it's worth checking. If you're planning to use production music, it's treated in the same way. Obviously someone owns that, someone's created it, and royalties need to be paid. So give us us 28 days notice at least. We will then go to the owner of that production library and attempt to gain the permission so that we can charge for that. More often than not, the copyright is still in effect and it is owned by someone. So give us a call, talk to us, and we'll be able to help you on that.
So it's not just a case of one size fits all. There are various different licenses available, and it all depends on how the music is being used. But what if you're not based in your own venue? Do you need to consider licensing for the venue you're performing in?
The best bet, obviously, is if you are going to be putting on a production at a venue, is to check with the venue itself, because they may already have a license in place for background music or for live performances, etc. So check with the venue to start with, because more often than not, if they've used music before, a license will be in place.
So if we use music in our productions that we didn't write ourselves, chances are a fee will be payable. But what about contacting PRS in the first place? Is there a charge for their licensing service?
The service that we provide is free. We don't charge, obviously, for helping you get the right license. We love it when people get in contact, ask us what licenses they need. Obviously, we're all in the same business. We're in the creative field, and so it's great if people are using music and putting performances on. That's fantastic. But obviously, the creators of that music, it's how they earn. So they do need to receive those royalties. If you've got a license in place for the music used in your performance, that's great. But keep in mind that doesn't allow you to then film it and sell DVDs of that performance, or put it up on a website if you're charging for it there, or making it available to the public. You will probably need, or you will need, new licenses to cover sort of internet usage. And obviously, if you're selling the production in DVD format or the soundtrack as a CD, you will need a different license. So get in touch, do it legally, and we'll find the right license for you, the cheapest, most applicable one, and we'll help you through the process.